Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Today, I am the Black Panther. I am the Black Panther because I know that the sea will part. I'm wise enough to know that in doing so, it represents an invisible power that we can only observe when the sea is split. I also know that it's not going to happen until a certain requirement is met. And I know where that is. I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen, as a black man, a Black Panther. But I also know that blackness alone is not going to be the all in all to open that sea. This shirt that I wear is a white shirt. It represents also that the white people are necessary. And here we got these other shades. It represents the other people. All of us will be required to split that sea. All of us will be required to bring the beauty of life that we've missed. I sit here, ladies and gentlemen, sad and happy. Sad because for 30 some odd years I've spoken to you. I've gotten thousands of videos on YouTube and Facebook. Whatever the subject matter is, I've given you a solution. And if you go back and look at, just do some research on subjects by Eddie Marcus, you will find that it has been viewed maybe by less than 100 people. Maybe 2 or 3 might have a few more clicks. But other than that, 2, 5, 10, indicating that people aren't interested in the subject matter, aren't interested in the message. And I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen, saying, that makes me sad. You see, this thing about life is beautiful, more beautiful than you can ever imagine. I was listening to some commentary on the movie Black Panther, and they've mostly been wonderful, but I heard one guy, and he was complaining. He was mad because people said that it would be a lift for black people. It will encourage them to recognize that all of the movies that they have seen where we were represented as slaves, where we were represented as something to laugh at, now you saw a movie that says you are somebody. And he was upset about that, and he claimed that Barack Obama was president, and they said he was going to bring a change. He was elected 2 times to be president, and nothing happened. And now some fictitious movie was going to move black people? No, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the fictitious movement. The move from the fictitious movement is just to remind black people that there is truth in life that we have not known. And I sit before you, stand before you, whatever you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you I am the evidence of it. I am the evidence of it. Today, we have shootings. Everybody's being killed. Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, California, Mississippi. People of Florida are just being killed with guns. People are being shot up in churches, in schools, at bus stops, at parades, killed. And this nation, ladies and gentlemen, that rejects the truth of life, what does it do to promote the continuation of this nation? They build guns, they build bombs, they trade them with other countries for the simple thing of making money, for the simple thing of using that money to conjure up what they call power. And the things that beautiful for life, for all of us, they care not. And because this has happened ever since we have been here on this planet, I'm talking about all of us here today. This is all we've ever seen. And the message of peace, you know it doesn't mean anything from what we've observed. Look who we have in the White House today, a president. And what is he doing? He's doing everything that he can to hurt the poor people for the benefit of the rich. He's cutting food stamps. He's cutting health care. He's cutting aid to old people. Anything that he can do. And he has support. I heard this morning that he has given his approval for Mitt Romney and his Senate campaign. Now, these two were at odds with each other. Mitt Romney said Trump was phony. Trump said something about a buffoon about Mitt Romney. And now they're going to come together. Is it for peace? Is it for prosperity? What do you think? What do you think? The question bigger than that is what you're going to do. When I think about the kids who have gotten a voice finally, who have said we don't trust adults, we have to stand up for ourselves. We are the seeds that must be planted into the ground that will give us growth and give us life, that those things that are so important to us can be made manifest. But see, that is genuinely true, except they are planting a seed that is not going to get them what they say they want. Why? Because they can't get it alone. In order for something like that to happen, it's going to require everybody that has a problem. It's going to require these kids to speak out. It's going to require black people to speak out for what is hurting them, causing them pain and suffering. It's going to take the people who are homeless, that's sleeping on the street, to stand up and speak out. It's going to take the people, the 99% who you used to hear about. It's going to take all of them. It's going to take the Black Lives That Matter. It's going to take the women's movement. It's going to take the Me Too movement. It's going to take the movement of everybody that is being oppressed in one way or another by this system to stand together and say that I stand here because of this one problem, but I'm here with this group because every problem here is just as important as my problem. And together we're going to say that this stuff is over. It's not going to happen anymore. And we who have voted to put you in office, who have betrayed us, we are going to make sure that we use the same system to take you out of office and put someone in who represents what we represent, and not to carry forward the agenda that has been set forward by the Council of Foreign Relations, by the Trilateral Commission, by the various round tables that we are hearing about. People are sitting there who don't give a heck about anybody but their own agenda. This is the Black Panther, ladies and gentlemen, with a spirit that says that every woman, every man, every young kid, every old person, not just here in America, but all over the earth, is essentially necessary to produce the kind of joy that we as people claim that we want, that we dream of every day. And ladies and gentlemen, I have stood before you. I've asked you to make me President of the United States. I've asked you to make me Senator. I've asked you to make me Governor. I've asked you to make me Mayor. And each time I did it, I had to do it as a write-in, because Republicans and Democrats couldn't stand the peace and prosperity I speak of. I've gone to churches and asked them to give me some authentication, and they step back and say they stick with the Republicans and the Democrats. And today we have hell boiling over in our country. We have threats of war with North Korea, with Russia, and everybody else that's hating us because of how we have regressed in our living every day. And yet I stand before the Minnesota people and ask them to write me in as the next senator, replacing Al Franklin. At the end of this year, in November, Eddie Marcus, not to go in and represent the agenda that is up, that's on the table, but to create a new agenda, an agenda that represents a new system, an agenda that represents a polished world. Yes, we say that what was happening in the movie Black Panther was fictitious, but ladies and gentlemen, it came out of someone's mind, and that was a movie. But what I speak to you about came out of my mind. It's not my idea. It was put there. And not only is it there, I don't talk to you about something that you have to trust that I will do. No, my friends, I have put the proposal down on paper. I've spoken of the proposal. You can read it. You can see it even before it happens, even before you vote. You didn't know what Donald Trump was going to do. You bought all his lies because nothing else worked for you. You didn't challenge George Bush. You bought his lies because you figured he was better. You didn't challenge Barack Obama because you hoped that he was better. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the power to be better is in your hands. And the proposal that I introduced to you, it is a proposal of you, the people, that says no more. It is a proposal of you making a commitment to put your hands to the plow, but not to look at it as work and all that stuff that's so hard and complicated, but it's calling on you to exercise your dream. It's calling on you to protect your dream. And what it's basically doing, ladies and gentlemen, is to recognize that mankind is not God. Just like your animals, your puppies that you want to call your children, giving them your name, those animals need you in order to look like they are beautifully cared for, or whether they are cast out, helpless and hopeless. Just like those animals need you, we as human beings need our Creator, our true mothers, our true fathers to do those things for us. And those things have been done for us from the beginning. And it has been given to us choice to choose whether we want it or not. And we have chosen not to accept it. Why? Because we don't understand the truth. The truth is, and I'm going to tell you in 3 expressions, that you must recognize that there's a power outside of humankind. We call it God. That power that is capable of doing all the things that we know is being done. We call it God. To recognize that power, have respect for that power, means that we have to treat one another like we want to be treated. That power didn't make you better, you more deserving. That power gave us what individually what we needed to, and make it a joyous thing, to contribute in this process. And by doing that, it made us all workers in heaven on earth. It made us all workers in paradise. And when you do that, who is the greatest? God. And for us to achieve that means we respect one another. And that third thing means that we have no other God before us. We let no lie, no philosophy, no individual, no shade, no anything that comes in and interrupt that. We don't let a Donald Trump, a Bush, a Barack Obama, John F. Kennedy, Johnson, anybody come up with some different plan that would separate us from the love of life, from the love of God. My friends, I sit here this morning feeling real good because I am so convinced of what I'm telling you that for the past 40 years, I basically have taken myself out of the dog-eat-dog world. I don't have anything. I stand before you this morning naked. I live in a house where a woman loves me enough to say she'll work. And I hate that she has to do that. I've even asked her to quit. But her mindset is that we got to eat. And so she works her butt off to make sure that we have a place out of the storm, out of the rain, that we have food on the table, that we might be able to go back and forth here and there sometimes. But even then, I, as an individual, you think I love having no teeth standing before you who think that is the most beautiful jewel that one can have? I recognize that orthodontists and other dentist people are given here so the human race, after we need dental care, we can have that kind of care. But we come into the world and the society teaches us only if you can pay. You can have a car only if you can pay. You can have food only if you can pay. You can have a house only if you can pay. You can have clothes only if you can pay. You can have an education only if you can pay. You can have health care only if you can pay. And if you can't pay, get back. We don't want to have anything to do with you. That's the world we live in. That's the world that you have accepted. And yet, the consequence of accepting that is the killings, is the poverty, is the crime, is the violence, is the terrorism, is the war. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Black Panther. I know that there's a God. I have to love you. And I'm not letting anything change me from where I am. And what do I want? I want your dreams to come true. I want you to get up in the morning time excited about this, what you got to do, because it's giving you an opportunity to shine like the sun. It's giving you an opportunity to be a fulfillment of a great thing that's constantly happening, where you don't have to hate, you don't have to lie, you don't have to cheat, you don't have to steal. I'm the Black Panther. You love the movie? Remember, what I represent is you. And what am I saying to you? You must be also the Black Panther. Even if you're white, you must think like a Black Panther. And I say that because of history. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that there's much more I must say, should say. But I think those essentials that are required for you to hear have been met. So I'm going to say, I want to thank you for giving me your time, to listen to the voice of basic human rights, to listen to the voice of God's man in America, to listen to the voice of the Black Panther. Bye-bye.